Welcome, Abundance Seeker, to another episode of Fearless and Power Tube. So in this video, we're going to talk about dealing with the darkest of times in our life. So as it is right now, it's winter and it's dark outside. We have clouds that have been covering the sun, which seems like for weeks. Sometimes it's raining and it just seems so dreary and we don't feel very motivated in our life. And frankly, some people are dealing with sadness and depression. But that's not really what we're talking about here. It's a mere metaphor for dealing with the darkest of times. The fact of the matter is that we've dealt with some very difficult, stressful times in our life that we call the darkest of times. So some of us have lived a charmed life, and a difficult time could really reach them deeply inside. Where some of us have lived a very difficult life with fleeting moments of joy. So I can speak to this from my own personal experience. And I've had many difficult times in my life. Most recently, it was my divorce. And while I'm no special snowflake in this world where we have so many divorces anymore, it was something that touched me deeply. And it was a very difficult, dark time in my life. So how did I come out of it? Well, when we have situations like this, and they mimic in other tragic events as well, such as death, we go through a tremendous amount of emotions. And it is, in a sense, a death. And that's the way I felt for a long time. But through my training, I realized that there were some coping mechanisms that I could integrate into my life to help me deal with it. And one of which was changing my physical state. That's not something that's very easy to do, especially in times like this when it's winter and it's dark outside. We don't feel like moving our bodies. We're sad, we're depressed. We need to be very careful about this state of mind because we as humans seek homeostasis. Well, that just means that we fall into patterns very easily and become addicted to these patterns. So when we are dealing with depression, sadness, lack of motivation, we have to be very careful not to fall into it. So it's one of those situations where we just have to just do it. Get to the gym. You won't regret it. Move your body. Go for a walk. Get out to the mall. You need to do some things to move your body so that you can change your physical state. This is very helpful when you're dealing with difficult people, too. Excuse yourself from the conversation and leave the room. Music is another very healing thing that we can do in our life, especially when we're dealing with difficult times like that. So that's what I had to do. So one of the things that is very helpful is giving a situation a different meaning. So for my situation that I gave to you, which was the divorce, I had to look at it a whole different way. One of the reasons I chose to get divorced in the first place was so that I could live a future with someone who truly loved me and realize that I did deserve to be loved. And we forget that when we're dealing with the divorce of it because it can be very difficult with all of the lawyers and all of the complications with the children and so forth. But realize that there is something in the future that is better for you. When one door closes, another one opens. But dealing with even darker difficulties, such as death, is probably one of the worst things I can possibly imagine. So I am fortunate that I have never had to deal with that, and it's a difficult subject. I can tell you the value of reframing a situation is so valuable for dealing with a difficult situation like death. What we want to do is we want to see what we have. We want to see the people around us that are supporting us. We want to love what we do have. So when we're dealing with death, for example, we want to see our own death in the future and realize that we can truly live by looking at our own death. So death is a way that we can learn to truly live. It's a lesson that helps us to learn what it is that we need to do to change our own life. As if every day was the last day on the planet, what our purpose is, and to truly love openly and freely, because we don't know when our last day is on this planet. And that is how we can cope with death. We can love the people that are around us. We can look at things that are working for us. And I never want to diminish the pain of death, especially when it's a loved one, because it is one of the saddest things that we can experience. But we need to celebrate the life of the person we lost. These are the darkest of times and how we can cope with them. So let's give things a new meaning, and let's celebrate ourselves and the life that we have and those around us, those that are still loving us, and to move our bodies so that we can change our physical state and not fall into that depression. This video on the darkest of days is a difficult topic, but I truly want you to live your best life, and I want you to see that we all are dealing with difficult times, but there are ways to help us cope even though we're stressed. So think of difficult situations with other people as if they're your emotional personal trainer. We know that a personal trainer is pushing you, right? So what we want to do is think of people as pushing us to be our better selves, because we realize that if we didn't have that, there wouldn't be a way for us to push beyond our limitations. So in a sense, we can be grateful for some of the stress that we feel. And it's not a difficult thing to wrap your mind around, but after that is all over, you'll see that you're a better person for having experienced that. So I hope this video was helpful for you in dealing with your own difficult issues. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to share it. Thanks for coming.